Do you ever walk into a room and immediately feel that something's off, even before anyone speaks? Or notice that you subtly change how you talk, joke, or even think depending on who you're with? If that sounds familiar, there's a good chance those traits aren't random quirks. For many people, they come from growing up with a narcissistic parent. Narcissistic parenting isn't about a parent being confident or having bad days. It's about long-term patterns where the parent's needs, image, and emotions come first. Love feels conditional. Approval depends on performance. The child isn't fully seen as a separate person, but more like a role to play. Over time, that environment quietly reshapes how a child's nervous system and sense of self develop. One of the most common traits is sensing bad vibes instantly. As a child, unpredictability isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. If a parent's mood can flip without warning, the safest strategy is to scan constantly. Tone of voice, facial tension, footsteps, silence. Your body learns to detect tiny emotional shifts because missing them once may have led to shame, rage, or withdrawal. As an adult, this shows up as hypervigilance. You read the room perfectly, but you're rarely relaxed. It's like a smoke alarm that goes off not only for fires, but for burnt toast. Another trait is changing who you are depending on who you're talking to. In healthy homes, children form identity by being mirrored. Their feelings make sense. Their preferences matter. In narcissistic homes, authenticity often isn't safe. The child learns which version of themselves gets approval and which gets punished, so they adapt. They become agreeable, useful, impressive, or invisible, depending on what's required. This isn't manipulation, it's survival. But in adulthood, it can lead to feeling fake, exhausted after social interactions, or unsure what you actually like or want. Many adult children of narcissistic parents also describe feeling like an alien. They can function socially, even excel, yet still feel fundamentally different or disconnected. That sense of otherness often comes from having a real self that was never fully welcomed. When your inner world wasn't validated, you learned to doubt it. Even praise can feel suspicious because in childhood, it usually came with strings attached. Then there's the constant need to earn validation. When love is conditional, worth becomes something you chase. Productivity, perfection, being helpful, being impressive. No matter how much you do, it never feels like enough. This pattern often leads to burnout, anxiety, and a harsh inner critic that sounds a lot like the parent you grew up with. These traits are closely tied to mental health. Anxiety, depression, people-pleasing, codependency, and complex trauma responses are common outcomes of chronic emotional stress. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your body and mind adapted to an unsafe environment. A crucial piece is learning to tell intuition from trauma responses. Intuition is usually calm and clear. Trauma-driven hypervigilance feels urgent and overwhelming. A helpful question is this about what's happening now, or does it feel familiar from the past? Healing doesn't mean erasing these traits. It means updating them. Awareness comes first, followed by learning to regulate your nervous system, validate your own feelings, and rebuild identity from the inside out. Boundaries play a huge role here, even when they bring guilt. Therapy can help, but so can small daily practices that reinforce safety and self-trust. The most important reframe is this: you didn't become this way because you were broken. You adapted because you were smart and needed to survive. Those adaptations kept you safe once. Now you get to decide which ones you still need and which ones you can finally let go.